Before we begin, take a moment and just breathe. Let go of everything that's on your mind right now. This is your time, a moment to reconnect with yourself. In a world where people constantly seek approval, attention, and validation, very few learn the true power of self respect. And the truth is, your entire life changes the moment you start valuing yourself, not based on others' opinions, but based on your own standards. This audiobook is not just something you listen to, it's something you experience. Each chapter is designed to make you pause, reflect, and question the way you have been living your life. Because sometimes the answers we are searching for are already within us. We just need to slow down enough to hear them. And if you believe in growing, improving, and becoming a stronger version of yourself, make sure to subscribe and stay connected. Because this journey doesn't end here. This is just the beginning of a new way of thinking, a new way of living. Now, close your eyes if you can, and let's begin this journey towards self respect. 1. Stop chasing people who ignore you. There comes a quiet moment in life when you begin to notice how much effort you are putting into people who barely notice your presence. You send messages, you wait for replies, you adjust your behavior, your tone, your expectations just to keep someone in your life. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to lose something far more valuable than their attention. You begin to lose yourself. Chasing people is not love, it is fear disguised as attachment. It is the fear of being alone, the fear of being forgotten, the fear that maybe this is the best you deserve. But the truth is simple and powerful. When someone truly values you, you will never have to chase them. They will meet you halfway, sometimes even more. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you reclaim your dignity. It may feel uncomfortable at first, like stepping into emptiness, but that emptiness is not loss. It is space. Space for the right people, the right energy, and most importantly, space for yourself. Ask yourself honestly, are you chasing connection or are you chasing validation? 2. Speak less, observe more. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, very few people truly take the time to listen. We often feel the need to respond quickly, to prove our intelligence, to fill every silence with words. But there is a different kind of power that comes from silence. When you begin to speak less, you start to notice more. You observe how people behave when they are not trying to impress you. You notice patterns, inconsistencies, hidden intentions. Words can be controlled, but actions rarely lie. Silence gives you clarity. It protects you from unnecessary conflict and saves your energy for what truly matters. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. And you certainly don't have to prove your worth through constant expression. Sometimes the strongest presence in the room is the person who listens, understands, and speaks only when necessary. So, take a step back, slow down, and observe, because what you notice in silence will teach you more than what you hear in noise. 3. Walk away to protect your peace. Peace is one of the most expensive things in life, yet we often give it away so easily. We stay in conversations that drain us, relationships that hurt us, and environments that disturb our inner calm. All because we are afraid of change or lose. But staying where your peace is constantly disturbed is not strength, it is silent self destruction. Walking away is not about giving up, it is about choosing yourself. It is about understanding that your mental and emotional well being matters more than temporary attachments. Not every situation needs closure. Not every person deserves an explanation. Sometimes the most powerful things you can do is simply leave. Leave the chaos, leave the negativity, leave the discomfort, and choose peace. Even if it means standing alone, because in the end, the life you build will depend on the peace you protect. So, ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is quietly destroying your inner calm? 4. Never explain yourself twice. There is a fine line between expressing yourself and trying to be understood by everyone. When you explain yourself once, you are communicating with clarity and respect. But when you find yourself repeating the same explanation again and again, it often means you are seeking validation rather than simply expressing your truth. Not everyone will understand you, and not everyone is meant to. People see the world through their own experiences, their own beliefs, and their own limitations. Trying to force understanding is exhausting and unnecessary. Your responsibility is to be honest, not to be approved by everyone. When you start respecting your own voice, you stop over explaining. You say what needs to be said calmly and clearly, and then you let it go. Because your worth is not defined by how well others understand you, it is defined by how strongly you stand on your truth. 5. Silence is the best response. There is a certain kind of strength that comes from choosing silence over reaction. In moments of conflict, when emotions are high and words can easily turn into weapons, silence becomes your shield. Not every comment deserves a reply. Not every insult deserves your attention. Reacting to everything only drains your energy and pulls you into unnecessary negativity. Silence, on the other hand, keeps you in control. It shows maturity, self awareness, and confidence. When you stop reacting, people lose the power they thought they had over you. Let them misunderstand you, let them judge you, let them speak. Over time, your actions, your growth, and your consistency will speak louder than any argument. True strength is not in proving others wrong, it is in raising above the need to prove anything at all. 6. Don't be available all the time. When you are always available, people begin to take your presence for granted. It is not because you are not valuable, but because you have made yourself too accessible. Human nature tends to appreciate what feels limited and meaningful, not what is constantly present without boundaries. This is why it is important to create space for yourself. Your time is not something to be given away freely to everyone at every moment. Learning to say no is a form of self respect. It does not make you rude or selfish. It makes you aware of your priorities. When you start valuing your own time, others will begin to value it too. Boundaries are not walls to push people away. They are filters that allow the right people to stay. So, take a step back and ask yourself, are you being respected or simply being used because you are always available? 7. Protect your time and energy. Time and energy are the two most valuable resources you have, yet they are often spent without thought. Every conversation you engage in, every thought you entertain, every activity you choose, it all consumes your energy. And once time is gone, it never comes back. This is why it is important to be intentional about where you invest both. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opportunity is worth your effort. When you become mindful of your time and energy, you begin to live with purpose. You focus on growth, on meaningful connections, on things that truly add value to your life. Protecting your time is not about being distant, it is about being selective. Because the quality of your life is directly connected to how wisely you spend your time and where you direct your energy. 8. Learn to be alone. Being alone is often misunderstood as loneliness, but the two are very different. Loneliness is the feeling of being disconnected even when surrounded by people. Being alone, on the other hand, is a state of self connection. It is where you learn about yourself, understand your thoughts, and build inner strength. When you become comfortable being alone, you stop depending on others for your happiness. You no longer seek constant validation or fear abandonment. Instead, you begin to choose people based on value, not need. This shift changes everything. You become more confident, more independent, and more at peace. Solitude is not something to escape, it is something to embrace. Because the stronger your relationship with yourself becomes, the healthier your relationships with others will be. 9. Let discipline define you. Motivation can inspire you, but it is discipline that transforms you. There will be days when you don't feel like trying, when everything feels difficult, when giving up seems easier. In those moments, discipline is what keeps you moving forward. It is the commitment you make to yourself regardless of how you feel. Discipline builds trust within yourself. Every time you follow through on your promises, you strengthen your character. Over time, these small, consistent actions create powerful results. Respect is not something you demand, it is something you earn through your actions. When your behavior aligns with your values, you naturally gain confidence and self respect. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about consistency. And consistency over time creates the life you desire. 10. The life you will either build or miss. Life is not something that happens to you, it is something you create through your choices. Every decision you make, every habit you build, every standard you set, it all shapes your future. If you continue to lower your standards, ignore your self worth, and settle for less, you will slowly build a life filled with regret. But if you choose to respect yourself, set boundaries, and grow consistently, you will create a life of purpose and fulfillment. The difference between these two paths is not luck, it is awareness and action. One day you will look back at your life and realize that everything you experienced was a result of what you accepted and what you changed. So, take a moment and ask yourself honestly, if you continue living exactly the way you are right now, will you be proud of your life or will you wish you had chosen differently? Respect your life quietly, consistently, and unapologetically. Because the moment you truly begin to value yourself, the world around you changes. Not because the world became different, but because you did. And now, as this journey comes to an end, take a moment and just sit with everything you have heard. Not to remember every word, but to feel the shift within you. Because self respect is not something you learn once and forget, it is something you practice every single day. In the way you speak to yourself, in the way you allow others to treat you, and in the choices you make when no one is watching. There will be moments after this when life tests you, when old habits try to pull you back, when people expect the old version of you to return. And in those moments, remember this: growth feels uncomfortable, but staying the same costs you your future. You don't need to prove anything to the world. You don't need to chase, explain, or beg to be understood. All you need is the courage to stand by yourself, even when it feels difficult. And if this journey made you think, even for a moment, if it made you question your life or see your worth a little more clearly, then stay connected, subscribe, and be part of a space where growth becomes a habit, not just a phase. Because this is not the end of your transformation, this is just the moment you became aware of it. Now go and start living a life where you never have to lose yourself to keep others.